Hi, this is Miss Fazone, and this is Introduction to Graphing Sine and Cosine. All right, I want to start by talking about the unit circle for a second, and I want to fill in those angles. Let's fill in those angles. So let's start with degrees, right? How many degrees are right here? 0, 30, 45, 60, 90, 120, 135, 150, 180, 210, 225, 240, 270, 300, 315, and 330. So those are all degrees, right? So now what I want to do, yesterday we were talking about radians, and so I want to convert all these into radians and see what we get, right? So if you have your notes from yesterday, that would be helpful. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. So look in your notes from yesterday and tell me what the radians are that go along with these. We made a table. All right, so what do you think 0 is in radians? 0 is still 0, okay? 30 degrees, what's that? That's pi over 6. Right? 45 degrees is pi over 4. 60 degrees is pi over 3. One way I remember this, the 30 and the 60, they switch. The 30 has the 6, the 60 is the 3. 90 is half of 180, so that's pi over 2. All right. 120 is, actually I have to look it up, 2 pi over 3. 135 is 3 pi over 4. 150, 5 pi over 6. Am I right? Yep. See, even I don't have these memorized. The 180 I do, though, because what's 180 equal to? Pi radians. All right, 210. That's 7 pi over 6. 225 is 5 pi over 4. 240 is your 4 pi over 3. 270, 3 pi over 2. 300, 5 pi over 3. 315 is 7 pi over 4. And 330 is 11 pi, 11 pi over 6. Now you might think this is ridiculous. Oh, and 2 pi. Like, is there a pattern? There is kind of a pattern. The 4s, the 45s are actually pretty easy. 1 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, 7. So it goes up by odds. Pi over 6 across from 30, 5 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, 11. So you add what? This one you add 4. Well, you go add 4 here, and then you add 2, and then I don't know. Yeah, if you can try to figure out a pattern or just memorize it, like most people should. Okay, so the reason we did that is I want to fill in this chart because we're going to be graphing. And when you graph, the first thing you do is you always make a table. Okay? So, what is sine of 0? 0. Sine of pi over 6. So pi over 6 is the same as 30 degrees. So what's sine of 30? That you were supposed to memorize. That's a half. Okay. Pi over 4 is the same as 45 degrees. What's sine of 45? Radical 2 over 2. Pi over 3 is your 60 degrees. Sine of 60 is radical 3 over 2. Pi over 2 is your 90. Sine of 90 is 1. Okay? So basically we just have to know these are all in order. So we do everything in radians, but so we have to kind of convert and then find sine of that number. Okay? So the next one's 2 pi over 3. That's 120. Sine of 120 is the same as 60. Okay? So it's actually radical 3 over 2. Because sine goes up to 1 and then back down to 0. So it's actually, we're going backwards. Radical 2 over 2, 1/2, 0. So sine, I mean, think about it, these are y values, right? So sine goes up to 1 and then back to 0. Right? So it kind of makes sense. And then what happens? It's going to go down to -1 and then back up to 0. All right? So here, it's the same numbers, same order, but it's negative because we're going down to -1. So -1/2, negative radical 2 over 2, negative radical 3 over 2. 3 pi over 2 is 270. That's your -1. So then it went down to -1, and then we're going to go back up to 0. Same numbers.